What's up, friends? How are y'all doing? Happy Monday to everybody. This is Hacks coming to you with another YouTube build video. Today we've got something special. We're trying to fit in with the cool kids. We're going to make ourselves a melee build. So we are going to be introducing y'all to Supernova Amara. Now, before we get started, I want to make sure you all know that this build was conceptualized by CZ47. He's a friend of mine on Discord. If you have any questions about how to optimize this build, how to make it fit your playstyle better, he is the person to ask. I will link his information in the description. He's totally open for questions, so if y'all have them, please do not hesitate to ask. But with that being said, let's get into the build. Hope y'all enjoy. So for this build, you're only really looking for two weapons. The first weapon you're trying to get is the More Linoge. In particular, you're looking for the 390 Anoint with the 120% melee damage bonus. This is going to be the weapon you keep equipped for 90% of your playtime. It's going to help you maximize your DPS, make sure you're melee killing enemies instantly. It's a great piece. You definitely want to make sure this is a front and center piece for the build. Same thing goes for the redundant face puncher. In this case, it's a URAD 5150 face puncher. This is sort of our get out of jail free card. It helps us to pick ourselves up and fight for your life. It helps us to get out of sticky situations. So another great choice, but these are really the only two we need. We do need, however, an action skill start stinger. You can see that we have these in all elements. The trick here is to match these with the activity that you're playing. Same thing goes for the fish slap grenade. That's our main source of healing. This is a strong source of damage, so you want to make sure that the novas from this and the element on your fish slap match up with the enemies that you're fighting, so that way you can maximize DPS and life gain. Now for the artifact, we are running the static charge as our primary artifact because that bonus is always active despite what the card says. We are also running a full set of white elephants and an Unleash the Dragon, so you have some wiggle room there. Generally, you're going to want to go with the static charge. However, the dot from the Unleash is really, really powerful if the situation permits. So again, part of this build is realizing what activity you're running and how to capitalize on the gear that you have to maximize your effectiveness against the enemies that you're facing. With class mods, you'll see we're running a dragon here with splash damage, action skill damage, and melee. This is going to be a great choice. It's going to give us great damage, but you do have some options. If you want more cooldown, for instance, you can run a phase Zerker. The golden rule is a solid option, but as a general rule of thumb, we're sticking with the dragon because the dragon is going to give us that max damage output. So with that being said, let's hop on over and explore the skill trees. Alright, so starting off with the blue tree, we're going to put 5 points into Do Harm. You'll notice A, that we've got 5 bonus points here from our class mod, and B, that Do Harm is currently a buggy skill. However, with our action skill damage being a priority for this build and for us still getting something from Do Harm at the moment, we're going to put 5 points there. We're putting 2 out of 3 in fast hands to get the reload speed and the weapon swap speed. This is always nice. We don't necessarily need to max it out, but we do need to move down the tree. So we're going to put 2 points here, and then moving along, we're going to also be putting 5 points into Violet Tapestry. Now, this is going to be especially powerful if you're running a Phase Zerker, but getting that status effect chance is going to pair nicely with Wildfire, so we want to make sure we max out points here. Moving on, we're going to put 5 points into Restless. Action skills are a large source of damage here, so we're going to want to make sure we have that action skill up as much as possible. With that being said, 5 out of 5 points here is going to make sure our cooldown rate is increased and that we make that happen. Ascendant is good for our action skill augment increase. This is going to come in handy when we move into the green tree. Laid Bare is a great skill to have. 3 out of 3 points here not only gives us some much needed damage bonus, but allows us to continue moving down the tree. Now, when we get to Remnant, what we're looking at here is the bonus overkill damage. It's going to be a huge, huge benefit. So we definitely want to make sure that we put 1 out of 3 points in Remnant just to get that little bonus. As we move through the tree and continue along, we can look at Awakening here. We've got 3 out of 3 points here to give our rush stacks increased effectiveness. Again, you're going to see the most out of this if you're running a Phase Zerker, but this is a strong 3 points to spend to get us down to Avatar. Again, action skill is a huge part of this build, so we want to make sure that we have it up as much as possible. We can grasp as much as possible. Avatar is going to make that work for us. Now, this red tree is pretty straightforward. We've got 5 points into Anima. I feel like that's common. We've got 5 points into Tempest. We are putting points into Infusion here so that we convert some of our action skill damage to our set element. We are running Steady Hands for the weapon handling and the accuracy bonus, but really Anima and Tempest are big deals here, along with Illuminated Fist. This is a melee-centric build, so getting that melee damage buff and getting that conversion is going to help out tremendously in making sure that we can melee kill enemies with a great degree of effectiveness. Now, I mentioned earlier the perks of having Wildfire. Now, with Wildfire, we're getting that status effect to spread every time we apply it, and if we can apply it with our grass, then we're going to spread it more consistently. I'm pretty sure everybody at this point knows how Amara's red tree works. Wildfire, we're going to put 5 out of 5 points here. Now, moving down to Dread, we're going to get that bonus damage. We're going to be grasping a lot. This is sort of a no-brainer. Again, 1 point here, it's well worth it. We're also putting 1 point into sustainment for the life gain. We're getting a ton of life gain, so 1 point is going to be fine. And we are running Ties That Bind so that we can maximize the effectiveness of our grasp. And that about handles the red tree. So moving into the green tree, we're running 3 points into personal space. This is a given. Up close and personal is always really good with Amara, so this is going to help us capitalize on that. And to move down the tree, we're putting 2 points into clarity. That's going to give us a little bit of some health regen. 5 points into Arms Deal is going to give us max splash damage, and it's going to reduce the splash damage that we take. This is a great perk to take for this build. Strongly recommend putting 5 out of 5 points here for the max benefit. But find your center. Again, another cornerstone. We want to make sure that we're getting max melee damage. Find your center is an excellent way to make sure that that happens. And for 1 point, there's really no reason not to put this here to finish out your points for your skill trees. Now, as far as augments go, we are running Revelation, so this is giving us our Novas, hence Supernova Amara. It's capitalizing on the damage output that we're generating. It's really giving us some strong DPS. It is a great augment to pick. You'll notice that we aren't running any sort of base elements at the moment. We're defaulting to shock. This is again because it's going to be dependent on what activity you're running and what enemies you're facing. If you want to set it to corrosive based on the enemies you're going against, that's fine. Again, you might also want to set it to fire. It really depends on what you're running against and what activity you're playing. So you have some wiggle room here when it comes to setting up different elements for your action skill. But keep in mind, just like with the core of this build, the main focus is to always maximize what you're running to do the most damage and to be as effective as it possibly can be for the enemies that you're running in the event that you're doing. With that being said, that pretty much tackles the skill trees. So let's talk about how we rate this bad boy. So this build, in my opinion, stacks up pretty comparably to Bubblegum that came before it. Mobbing's not going to be an issue. 9 out of 10 is fair. 10 out of 10 would be fair. you're not going to have any trouble with base enemies. You're going to melee grasp everything and kill it all real quick, so no issues there. With bossing, however, you've got to take into consideration which bosses you can grasp, which bosses you can dot. A little bit weaker in that regard, so 7 out of 10 I think is fair. As far as sustainability is concerned, you will go down quite a bit, but in the event that you do go down, you can get yourself back up. Again, we have the URAD face puncher for that, so I think 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10. You could go either way there, but we're going to be generous and give her an 8. As far as gear dependency goes, you do need some mainstays for this build, but you also do have some wiggle room. Again, what really matters the most is that you're matching up your gear sets for the encounters that you're running. So really this could go any number of ways, but I think where we've got it is pretty fair. Overall, I think an 8 out of 10 is a fair justification for this build. I think many of you, if you decide to pick it up, will be able to run it without much issue at all. Alright, well, I guess that about does it for this video. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please do not hesitate to hit that like button. It helps me out a lot. If you want to subscribe to our channel for more videos and for more build content, please do not hesitate to do so. We're working to get our YouTube off the ground, so every little bit helps. Also, it's worth mentioning if you want to get your hand on this build or many others, please do not hesitate to check us out over at www.twitch.tv/h4xzzhd. We give away this build and many others on the daily, so if you catch me while we're live and you're looking for some meta content, please do not hesitate to ask. I'm always happy to help. Also, you can hit me up on Twitter at HacksHD or on Discord. You can join our server over at the After Hours Club. There's invites floating around. If you need one, please do not hesitate to let me know. But I guess I'm going to shut up now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.